Hi everybody, thanks for stopping by. My name's FM19, and something a little bit different on the channel today. When I first started out on YouTube, I had intended to start doing some experiments, and that kind of fell to the wayside after the first one I ran. I had created a goalkeeper whose home country was China, and made him one of the best in the world, and wanted to see how he would progress. And if you go far enough back in my YouTube videos, you will find that. It's not the best, I'll be the first to admit it, but due to a couple family issues, I recently acquired another laptop. And it's frankly not the fastest laptop. It's not a gaming laptop by any stretch of the imagination. It's not any better than the laptops either one of my kids have. And I can hear my dad in the back of my head just yelling at me about that statement as a whole. But what I thought was, you know what? I'm going to put FM on it, and I'm going to run a couple of experiments that I would like to see and that I would like to do. And one of those is, what would the English pyramid look like in 100 years? And how much further on can you go? A couple years ago, there was someone who did it for 500 years, and you see him every once in a while. I think Jack, Work the Space, also did one that was 100 years in the future. But I essentially wiped that computer clean, downloaded Steam to it, downloaded Football Manager to it, took Steam offline, fired up Football Manager, and it's been running ever since. I saved the save file to a thumb drive, and that's what we're looking at now. And it took that laptop 6 days, 8 hours, and 9 minutes to run 100 years. And frankly, it's probably more like 6 hours. I did stop it at various points along the way just to see what was happening and why. There's actually a couple screenshots about that on my Twitter feed, but what I did was I loaded up England from Vanarama North and South and above, and then I added in some of the players, so the player database is about 48,500, and then let it go. And actually, I'm going to show you right now. I'm going to move the camera here just for a second and show you the other computer here. Yeah, that's not really working all that well. It's not the best thing, but the eagle-eyed amongst you will notice that it is currently the 26th of May, 21:33, and we got to 21:19 last night, so it's moving along at a pretty good clip. The goal is, I'm going to move the camera back. That's kind of in the same place. So the goal is, go to 250 years or maybe 300 and check it out then. And as the game goes along, I'll make the saves available. I'll make this save available. Link will be down in the description below. And, you can go into the details that I've missed. So let's check a couple things out here. First, we're going to go to the Premier League. And I did look at this last night, and I did have some notes. The current defending champion at the moment is Southampton. But we are not going to go there. We're going to go to past winners. And it starts all the way in 1889, which frankly is kind of cool. So right here is the 2018-2019 season. And Man United won. And then it was City and Liverpool, United, City, United, Arsenal, Man City, so on and so forth. Then Man City went on an absolute tear from 2031 to 2037. And then Arsenal was always the bridesmaid, never the bride. But as we scroll down, you see it's the teams you would probably expect. And then Tottenham sneaks in. And then, this is what took me by surprise. As best as I can tell, I'm going to scroll all the way down here. So West Ham is at the top. West Ham got a rich owner who was bound and determined to win the Premier League at all costs. I'm going to look at my notes here real quick. In 22 years, West Ham had 18 first-place finishes. And the years that they didn't finish in first place, they finished third one year, they finished third the other year, second to Southampton in 63 and 64. They fell off in 70 and 71, and then they last won it in 73, 74. Now, the reason I think they got a rich owner to help them is if you click on the team, and then you go to the transfer history, you can scroll all the way back to, it was the 2048 season that they started. So we're going to scroll back a little bit further. This is the 2040 season. They spent $130 million. They sold 100 million. And then it was 48 and 23, 82 and 41, 44 and 122. Then 51 and 4 million sold. 162 million in. And this is 2045, 2046. And they sold 15.2 million. Then 290 million in and 52 million out in 46, 47. And 48 is the year that they really started winning. And a couple of these guys are still saved. They are West Ham icons. So we look at someone like Max Morente, was an attacking mid on the left. 177 games, 25 goals for him. Go to Thomas Thuram-Ulian, French international, attacking midfielder on the right. 266 games, 57 goals for him. Jorge Gonzalez. His defender, 332 appearances, 3 goals. They started buying all these world-class players, and that's why they won 18 Premier League championships in 22 years. But you can go through these. A lot of these guys are saved in the database because they are icons or good players. Stefan Andre, 125 goals in 389 games as a striker. Mamadi Fernandez, 117 goals in 344 appearances. I got a couple more names written down here. What's the one I'm really looking for? Abdoulaye Diallo. I may have to type that in. Actually, I'm going to have to do this. We're going to have to go to West Ham. Now, this is their overview. 4 European Champions Cups, 20 Premier Leagues, 3 Club World Championship, 1 European Winners' Cup, 10 FA Cups, 4 Euro Cups, 3 Super Cups, a couple of Sky Bet Championships, one of which is fairly recent. Oddly enough, in 2086-87, West Ham was relegated. About 10 years after they won their last Premier League title, they were relegated. You know what? We're going to go back to when they were winning all those championships. Abdoulaye Diallo, and I know I'm pronouncing that wrong. 547 appearances as the West Ham keeper. Conceded 521 goals. That is less than a goal a game. And the kicker is he came on a free from Freemund. He started out in his club in Guinea-Bissau. He went to Freemund. West Ham got him on a free, loaned him out to Palace for a season, and then he started for West Ham and was between the sticks for 19 years. And was really, really quite good until the end of his career, really. Let him go. He retired. Portuguese international, was the Portuguese keeper for the longest time. But if you go to the clubs and oh, what the heck? I'm trying to find the screen that has it all. Club information. So this particular skin here, this is the yak skin, and yes, I'm switching around again. I understand that. It'll have the landmarks. You can go all the way back and see when they were winning and what they were winning. Here we go. Favorite personnel. It took me a while to figure that out. At least on this skin, you go to info, and then a lot of these players that are still underlined in favorite personnel or icons are all players who were part of that run where they had all those first place finishes. But like as an example, Jesus is their current striker, a very, very good striker. 45 appearances for Spain, 25 goals, 24 under 21 caps, 19 goals, 22 goals last season for West Ham, 22 goals 4 seasons ago. He's definitely got potential. He is a very, very good striker. So getting back to the history of the Premier League, West Ham falls off. Chelsea sneaks in and grabs a championship. Southampton, then Arsenal, and then you have another run. Newcastle wins 3 back-to-back, and then Wolves. And I did tweet this out, and I got a very big thumbs up from Dave has a party about this. Wolves won, let me look here, 8 championships in 10 years. And the years they didn't win, one year they finished second, and the other year they finished third. And then Newcastle took over again. They won 5 back-to-back, and then Arsenal and Southampton snuck in. In this particular save, there are 2 clubs that kind of fit the always a bridesmaid, never a bride rule. Southampton, although they did win from time to time, they ended up finishing second or third a lot. And then early on, especially in the 2040s and 2050s, Brighton finished second so many times to West Ham. And it wasn't even a close second. A lot of them, West Ham was winning the Premier League by 15, 18 points. I think the greatest point differential between first and second place one year when West Ham won was 25 points between first and second place. They just absolutely ran away with the league. Newcastle started the new century as Premier League champions. Then Arsenal sucked back in. Southampton, Arsenal, then Everton crawled back up to first place and then fell down to third. Arsenal took over again. Man United snuck in. Arsenal, and then Southampton. A couple of things I find interesting, at least about the Premier Division now. If you look at the stadiums, Cardiff City seats 120,000 people. I don't know why. It was built in 2009, so it's a real stadium. Cardiff, however, has been one of those up and down teams. Unfortunately, so is my team, Crystal Palace. They went down in 2020, and they've been back up to the Premier League, but they are the epitome of a yo-yo team. They're up one year, down the next. Up the next year, down the year after that. Up the year, and it's just... Ugh. As a Palace fan, part of me is tempted to do a save offline, picking up from here and seeing if I can't get them to the top of the Premier League. I think that'd be pretty cool. I may actually do that as like a blog series. I'm not quite sure. A couple of other things to look at here. Unexpected relegations. Man City was relegated in 21-18. And they were also relegated a little bit earlier in 2103. If you go far enough back in their history, and this is something I wish SI could include, is the ability to scroll back and forth on the history to get a better example of the of where they finished. You can click this button, and you can see they were relegated in 2102-03, and then they came right back up. And other than that, it was Premier Division all the way, except when they were not the Premier Division at the turn of this century. The other team is Tottenham. They're currently in the Championship. But as you can see, the 2100s have not been kind to Tottenham. They fell down out of the Premier League in 2089, and it was a long, slow decline. And then for whatever reason, I haven't really gone in depth on this. For whatever reason, starting in 2100, they've been a championship team the entire way. Now, let me show you my team here. See, up, down, up, down. Championship for the longest time, then up, then down, then up, then down, then up. And then they actually stay in the Premier League back to back. Then, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. I think a lot of the coaches they've had got motion sickness from how many times they went up and down. These are the West Ham years, and they were just absolutely horrible. I think the best they finished in the Premier League in a long, long time was like 14th place. So, yeah. I still think that's something I may do. Other teams to look at. Everton, I want to say, was relegated in 2058, but they came right back up. No, they were relegated in 2081 as well. I didn't do this for all the teams. Yeah, they were relegated in 57-58, and then they went back down and came back up again. Newcastle was relegated. Yeah, this is something I thought was interesting as well. It's something that just caught my eyes. I was looking through this last night, making my notes for what stood out and what didn't. Newcastle, who has been on a really good run since the start of the 2100s, was actually relegated during the West Ham years. And then they recovered, and as you can see, they came back up in 2065, and then 12 years later were top of the Premier League. This was their back-to-back-to-backs right here. United fans, or United haters, Man United. It helps if I spell that correctly, Man United. We'll be happy to see that, yeah, they got relegated at the end of the 2023-24 season, but they came right back up. They had this period here, I think they got a new owner in, and he just wasn't spending money, and they gradually fell down, and they were relegated out. But before that, the lowest they had ever finished was 10th. Anything else? Oh, yeah, the 2037 stage. So one of the other things I like doing, and I thought about doing this for the video, but then I realized it would take too much time and effort, was do a screenshot of each stage, or each year, how the stage finished, and then just point out some of the highlights or lowlights. But the most exciting season thus far in this save has been the 2037-2038 save, where Man City beat Arsenal on goal differential. They both tied with 87 points. Stoke, well, Stoke has not had a very good run. They've actually dropped down to League One a couple of times. They've been a perennial championship team. They've yo-yoed up to the Premier Division every once in a great while. And then the other team that's been very up and down has been Swansea. But they're all the way down in League One. QPR actually fell down to League Two for a little while. And Swansea has never been back up to the Premier League. And QPR, they're back in the Championship. But as you can see, they've yo-yoed up and down. They're back up in the Championship this year, but, a decade ago, 15 years ago in game, they were down in League Two. I have not seen any Premier League teams that have fallen all the way down to the Vanarama to come back up. To be honest with you, that's not something I was looking at. I loaded the Vanarama leagues and I went down to level 5 just to kind of make that possible. Burnley, I believe. No, they went down to the Championship a couple of times. No, more than a couple times. I would have to go back and literally do the thing where you look at the stage every year. I'm reasonably sure at some point in time, every team that is in the Premier League this year has been relegated out, with the exception of Arsenal and Chelsea. Okay, next up, Champions League. So I got the 2018-2019 at the top. It goes pretty much how you would expect for the longest time. Barcelona, Milan, Barcelona, Madrid, United snuck in a couple of times back-to-back, Barcelona back-to-back, PSG. I will say I think it's interesting. All I have loaded are the English leagues. You can go and look at the Bundesliga and La Liga and Serie A and League One, but they're not going to have anything in depth. But I will say it's been Bayern Munich almost every year in the Bundesliga. It's been PSG almost every year in League One. In the years they haven't won it, Monaco has. La Liga jumps between Barcelona and Real Madrid, and then Serie A. There's been a few teams, but it's Atletico, or it's Serie A. It's been a few teams, but it's it's the big teams, Juve, Milan, Inter Milan, but although recently Napoli snuck up and actually won a couple as well. Some of the teams that stand out, Bayern is the first German team in a long while to win it. They won it in 2044-45. They broke the English-French domination of the preceding years. West Ham, as part of their run to the Premier League, won back-to-back Champions Cups. And then they won it again in 63-64, and then again in 66-67. Arsenal won 3 back-to-back after Everton won 2 back-to-back. I think that's interesting. You have teams that finished top 6 in the Premier League, and they were winning Champions Leagues and, as we'll see, Euro Cups, but they couldn't finish at the top of the table for the Premier League. Southampton, Newcastle, Wolves won during their decade of domination, as it were, but they only won once. Then Newcastle went on an absolute tear from 2089 to 2097. They won 7 times. And then BVB snuck in. And then turn of the century, it starts getting a little bit more, I don't want to say diverse, but you have teams like Atletico Madrid winning, Bayern's winning, Wolves won again in 2105-06. Everton, Sevilla, Milan. So I think we're kind of reaching the point in the database where you're going to see a lot more diversion as teams start moving up and down and staying down or staying up. If we go to the Euro Cup, I'm going to totally jinx myself here too. The database really isn't moving all that slow. This particular save's only 450 megabytes. I suspect as it goes on the other laptop and gets a little bit bigger, it might start moving a little bit slower. So here we are here, 2018-2019 season. Liverpool, Juve, Tottenham, Valencia. Tottenham, Liverpool, Valencia, Atletico Madrid, Tottenham again. A couple teams that sneak in that you probably wouldn't expect. RB Salzburg, Napoli. Norwich won the Euro Cup in 2046-47. The Napoli. Anything else? Brighton won when they were perennially the bride to West Ham during West Ham's dominating years. Brighton won the Euro Cup one year. Burnley won it one year. FC Salzburg again. Roma, Inter, BVB, Watford won it. 2084-85. Miles should be happy with that. Let me check something out here real quick. Yeah, Watford went down twice. They went down in 2039-30 and 2043-44, and since then they have been a perennially mid-table team. They've had a couple times where they finished top 6, 5th here, 5th there, 4th, 3rd in 78-79. You know what? Can you sort by position? You can. They finished, 3rd in the Prem. 2078-79 has been their highest finish in the Premier League, except the year they finished 2nd in 82-83. But that was when they were first division. Anyhow, back to the Euro Cup here. Then Watford won it again in 90-91. Man United, West Brom in 94-95. Benfica, which is the first time in a long time we've seen a Portuguese team come in. Wolves won a couple. Bayern, then Everton. Borussia Dortmund again. Juve, Rangers. And if the Bundesliga was bad, frickin' the Scottish Premiership's even worse. It's Rangers and Celtic. I think there's been one other team that's won the Ladbrokes in the past 100 years, and it was just the 1 year. Celtic, Southampton, and Benfica are your last 3 winners of the Euro Cup. Now, the one everybody is looking for. World Cup. Germany are the defending champions. So starting right here, France was the last winner in 2018. Portugal, Spain, Belgium, Germany, Holland, France, Italy, Holland, Ukraine won it in 54, Serbia in 58. Spain in 62, Brazil in 66, France in 70, Portugal, Spain, England won it in 82. They beat Colombia. Then Scotland won it in 86. They beat Ireland. France in 90, Germany in 94, France in 98, Switzerland in 2102, who beat Morocco. Italy beat the Ukraine in 06, France beat Portugal in 10, Argentina beat Brazil in 2114, and Germany just won in 2118. They beat Spain. A couple of the other names that stand out. Italy beating the Ivory Coast in 2046. Canada coming in 3rd in 2042. Romania in 2058. England finished 3rd in 62. The USA finished 3rd in 74. That's the year Portugal beat England. Scotland came in 3rd in 82. Wales came in 3rd in 2094, and again in 2110. England came in 3rd in 2106. I think the one that really kind of stands out as the surprise is Ivory Coast in 2046. It's not something I could go into and look at in depth, I think. Part of me says, if you have some really high-speed gaming laptop out there, or some high-speed gaming computer out there, it would be interesting to load up all the leagues and just let it go. See what happens. Anything else to look at? Check my notes here. Okay, look at World Cup Player of the Year. So starting in 18, Lionel Messi, Neymar, Mbappe, Neymar, Salah, Marcus Rashford won it in 2026. Mbappe, who moved to PSG, Jorn Grandjean, I want to say is probably, he's the first regen to win Player of the Year, and it was well deserved. And then I'm trying to think. Oddly enough, this is when the West Ham domination of the league started. They got Mamadi Fernandez from West Ham, so that kind of cements my proposition that they got someone rich to come in and spend the money He won it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. He retired as a player. He was a midfielder, 344 appearances, 117 goals, 588 appearances, 176 goals, over 7 clubs. He was 40 years old when he played for Seattle in the MLS. He had 39 appearances and 6 goals. I don't know if that speaks to his ability or the quality of the MLS. João Antonio for Real Madrid makes an appearance. Chancel Cabaya, he must still be a coach. That's why he's got the eye after him. Nope, he's a scout. He's not the best scout, but he's not the worst scout either. Wolves had a player of the year. Wolves had a couple players of the year. And then now you're getting up to the current guys. And there haven't been any really comparable repeat winners. Goran Campara, who plays for Barcelona, has won a couple of them in the past few years. Attacking midfielder. Yeah, I'd say that's pretty good attacking midfielder, although he's on a rotation contract now because he's 35 years old. But if we look at his career stats, 7.81 that year. This guy's an assist machine. 131 from Man United after they paid $4.4 million from Olympia in Slovenia. You can sort by name. So, Mbappe won it 4 years. Messi won it a couple years. Marcus Rashford ended up as a Man United icon. 221 goals in 550 appearances. A year at Huddersfield and 1 appearance at Everton. Probably just to poke somebody in the eye at Man United. Salah won 3 years. And you are into all the regens and whatnot. So, going down to the championship. Huddersfield, Man City, they just got relegated. Crystal Palace is there, Tottenham's there, Leicester's there, Birmingham, Barnsley. Tranmere's made its way up. Charlton, Norwich, MK Dons, although Norwich was in the Premier League a couple of years. Notts County has made it up. Pompey's made it up. Sunderland. Go down to League One. And I'll be the first to admit my knowledge of where these teams are now and where they should be is entirely lacking. So if something stands out to you here, let me know. I think Stoke being down in League One is a big thing. Swansea, I would expect them to be a little higher, but Torquay coming up is a good thing, I think. Plymouth and Eastleigh I recognize just from other YouTuber saves. So maybe League One is the right place for them. I'm not seeing any Premier League teams here. The only one I think comes close is maybe Middlesbrough. Let me check out their history here real quick. Yeah, they've had 1 Premier League appearance in 53-54 and 26-27. But since then, they've gone all the way back down to League One. League Two. Well, Billericay coming up out of the Vanarama. I guess it's something. FC United is all the way up in League Two. That could be interesting. Posh is all the way down in 20th place at the moment. Oldham. Shrewsbury. When you look at the Vanarama North, I think it's going to be the first one. You got your Dovers, your Dulwich Hamlets, Boreham Woods, Mansfields, Hereford, Swindon, Northampton. Check out Northampton here. It's a hunch. Something tells me they've been much higher. League 2, League 1, League 2. I could have sworn they were in the championship. I don't think, and as I said, I am not the most knowledgeable person. I don't think there's been any team in the championship that's fallen away down to the Vanarama. I could be wrong. If I am wrong, let me know. I'm going to check out the north here. Macclesfield, Aldringham, Halifax, Troy, Scunthorpe. St. Neots is up. Curzon Ashton, Fylde, Matlock. Frankly, the only Matlock I know is the TV show. And we'll check out the south. Canvey Island. Okay. Hampton and Richmond. Hemel Hempstead. Wingate and Finchley. Tooting and Mitcham. And then that's pretty much it. You know, just a brief overview of what I was talking about earlier. League One. PSG, Monaco. PSG, Monaco. PSG, Monaco. Monaco actually won it back-to-back in 68-69, and then PSG got mad and won it back-to-back. And then Monaco has managed to sneak up every once in a while. In the years that Monaco has won it, for the most part, PSG's come in second, except the 1 year, 76-77, when Lyon came in second. And then again in 52-53. And Lyon's finished second a couple of times. They have been very much the bridesmaid, never a bride. I think the surprising team that you'll notice over here, Saint Etienne came back, kind of a fallen giant in French football. They finished third a couple of times. Nice finished third a couple of times. Bordeaux, Guingamp 1 year, Nantes 1 year. And Saint Etienne has kind of started making a charge back up. They've finished third more than once the past 10 years or so. In the Bundesliga, boy. Bayern, Borussia Dortmund. Bayern, Borussia Dortmund. Bayern, Borussia Dortmund. Bayern, Borussia Dortmund. Bayer actually snuck up into second place 1 year. And they've actually snuck up into second place a couple of years. More often than not, when Bayern is winning, BVB is coming in second. And when BVB is winning, Bayern is coming in second. I think something would really have to happen behind the scenes for these two teams to stop winning. Your third place teams, there's been a couple surprises. TSG Hoffenheim's come up. Schalke's come up. Wolfsburg 1 year. VfB Stuttgart. RB Leipzig. And then if we look at La Liga, and it's going to be the Spanish First Division. You know, it's been Barcelona and Real Madrid. Sevilla snuck up to first place once. And then it's been pretty much Barcelona and Real Madrid all over again. And then Sevilla snuck back in again to first place. Then Barcelona and Real Madrid. Then Atletico snuck in. Then Sevilla, Real. Atletico won it last year. So it's been very... That's the word I'm looking for. I don't think you can use entropy as a verb, but if you could, that's where I'd use it. Serie A, a little bit more diversity. That's the word I'm looking for. There's no diversity in the Bundesliga or the Spanish First Division or La Liga. And there's a little bit more here. Juve, Milan, Juve, Inter, Napoli snuck up a few times. Milan, again. It's been pretty much Milan, Juve. And if it's not them, you get someone out of the blue like a Napoli or an Inter. And then, you know, every once in a while you'll see Roma sneak up into second place. And there's been no real surprises in third place or anything like that. Lazio 1 year. So, and it's a bit more diverse than League One and the Bundesliga, but not as much. Then again, it could be worse. You could be the Ladbrokes. So Aberdeen won it in 2040-41. And that is the only time in the past 100 years a team not named Rangers or Celtic has won the Ladbrokes. Got a lot of teams fighting for third. And frankly, you know, when Celtic isn't winning, they're coming in second. Except the times when they're not, when Aberdeen was kind of clawing their way up. Actually, it's more of a battle for who's going to finish third in the Ladbrokes. But, you know, well, that's pretty much it. The plan is to keep going. I've got the other laptop running. It's not doing anything else. You know, we'll see what happens in the next 100, 150 years. If we can go out 300, 400, even 500 years, I'll do that as well. I am going to post the save, probably host it on MediaFire. Link will be in the description down below. Give everybody the opportunity to do a deeper dive. See if something's happened or not happened. Reading is in the Premier League. I can't believe I missed that. They've been up and down, though, if I recall. Yeah. Dirty Leeds is up. Bournemouth has been your... if there's one team I would have thought would have gone all the way down to League 2 before coming back up again, it would have been Bournemouth. But they have been perennial championships. And 1 year in League 1. So, they're doing well. But like I said, I think the game is going to have to progress a lot farther before we start seeing teams in the Vanarama coming up. Before we start seeing teams maybe like a Reading or a Leeds fall down to League 2. But, this is something I thought was interesting. And it's, you can always look at some of the players that are here now. It's also kind of interesting if you go back and you look at like Messi to see what he did. He retired as a player at Barcelona. Ronaldo. Am I spelling this right? Cristiano. He was a coach. If we go to his staff history over here, he wasn't a very good coach. He was an interim a lot. Not a lot of successes there. Who's another guy that always pops up in the coaching? Wayne Rooney does. Retired as staff. Let's see if we go to his staff history. Yeah, he was the head coach at Cambridge and the head coach at Barrow, and he just wasn't very successful. Stuff like this I find interesting. So, I could spend a whole week or two just looking through all this stuff, trying to find the pieces at work. It's also interesting to go along to existing coaches and see what they've done in their career. You look at Jurgen Klopp. He left Liverpool, went to Atletico Madrid, to Bayern, to Tottenham, to Real Madrid, to Chelsea, to Barcelona, Atletico Madrid, ended up back up at Tottenham. Things like that. Pep. Went to PSG, to Chelsea, to Milan, to Man City, was West Ham coach, but that was before West Ham got good. Was Newcastle and Man United when he retired. So started out at City, ended up at United. I don't know how to feel about that. Then again, could be worse. You could be a Crystal Palace fan like I am and just be utterly disappointed at how poorly they're doing. That said, if you want to see something that I've missed, let me know. I'm more than happy to go back and show it in another video. Or, like I said, I am going to attach the save. You can download it below. I don't know when the next update is going to be. Currently, like I showed earlier, 2130. I'd like to go ahead another 100 years or so, maybe 150 to give it that 250 feel, and we'll see what happens then. So maybe a week or two, we'll see what happens. If you did like what you've seen and heard, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel for more content. Questions, criticisms, comments, leave those down below. I'll answer those as fast as I can. My name's FM19. I thank you for watching.